Do you want to run pain and injury free, whatever our ages are, whether we get into our 40s, 50s, 60s? Do you want to do things the hard way or the easy way? But first, I've got to give a massive thank you. Yes, it's celebratory weekend. If you've been following on my socials here on YouTube, you would have seen that we have reached 10,000 subscribers. In fact, at the time of recording this, we've gone over 10,000 subscribers now. It's Monday, the 9th of December 2024. Who'd have thought that coming up to next year, will be 10 years of running, I'll finally hit 10,000. It just goes to show I'm just a little shot who keeps shooting. I'm no big deal here on YouTube, but thanks to you guys regularly commenting, thumbs upping, subscribing and doing all that jazz, we've passed 10,000 subscribers. It's phenomenal. I feel so happy and overjoyed, and that's why I want to get back to basics. Yeah, back to basics. This is number 2 on the back to basics, where I'll be talking about, do you want to do things the hard way or the easy way? Let's crack on. So what are your plans for 2025? Yep, I know what they are for me. A lot of people, we have plans. What races are we looking to do? All that type of stuff. But for me, my goal for 2025, similar to us this year, is to run pain and injury free, which I've been doing now for 18 months. In fact, if I was to go back, apart from those Achilles injury of summer of last year, July of last year, so it's about 18 months. Prior to that, the last time I had an injury that took me out in terms of taking part in a marathon was March 2019. So nearly 5 years of pain and injury free. Yes, there's been niggles, but it's managing those niggles where I've been following the basics. And with this series of back to basics, of which this is number 2, I want to share with you my experiences and how I can help you to run pain and injury free. You might have seen some adverts from various channels where they aim to do that, and I've been coached by some of those people as well, so I can share some of that knowledge I've learned from that, because what I share on this channel is not just from what I've done myself and learned, but what I've learned from very knowledgeable, intelligent people, both in terms of coaches, mentors, but also books that I've read. And I'll go through at the end some of the top books, which I think, not just for now, but for always, and maybe for the runner who has everything, you might want to look at this as a Christmas present, whether it be for yourself or for friends that you know who do run. So let's crack on with that. Now, last weekend I had the privilege of being at an England Masters training weekend. When I say a whole weekend, it was a training day, a whole day, Sunday of last weekend. And it was absolutely brilliant being with some top coaches who've been coaching now for decades, 20, 30 years of coaching, 40 years of coaching for some. Absolutely amazing. Some that I'll be having on the podcast coming up, some that I've already recorded, but absolutely amazing. And it was all talking about more specific to Masters, of which I think for 35 and overs, I think for England Athletics, there's over 60% of the members are what we call Masters, as in 35 and over. I think in the US it might be 40, or is it the other way around? But anyway, a lot of people. So we talked about 2 key topics. One of them was about aging. Yeah, I'm 63, we're all getting old, we can't change that. And the other one was talking about specificity of 5k and 10k. Try saying that after a few jars. Specificity, yeah, specific training for 5k, 10k. Now for me, having read and worked with some top people, and also in prior to life, before running, a lot of the things that I talk about is essential for day-to-day stuff, is whilst some of it wasn't new to me, it was always great to have a refresher. And I found it absolutely fascinating, the things that we talked about and what we went through. And that's what I want to share with you, because a lot of what they said on there is all about, because we haven't invented running, have we? But it's about doing the basic stuff each and every day. One of the things that they really pulled out, and I didn't prompt them, you know, we found that I see a lot of things, and you probably see it on YouTube, these Mr. Beast type style thumbnails where it's all cartoonified faces, and they got this one hack that will make you run a faster 5k, 10k, half marathon, marathon, ultra, whatever it is. One of these coaches said it's almost like his pet hate about this. Now, it's not a pet hate of mine, but I do find it quite disingenuous, really, because that one workout will not make you faster on its own. It's about the whole thing that we do, and that's what I like to look at, is the whole holistic thing. Whilst, you know, I don't produce those clickbaity type thumbnails and content, and when you look through all of it, if you did sit through the whole thing, that they're really not telling anything new to us. I'm not going to be going through anything new, but I think sometimes we need to reiterate what we need to do is a basic day in, day out. Because one of the things that stood out to me as I suddenly realised I didn't put my phone on mute. One of the things as it's pinging messages, the joys of being connected. One of the key things that I'll be looking at going forward is about recovery. Because in terms of the basics that we need to do, again, I may be teaching you the bleeding obvious, but the training that we do, the hard, intense workouts, the sessions, the long runs, if we don't recover correctly, then there's no point doing that training. And one of the popular videos and content out there is how to train as an elite. And what I find quite hilarious with a lot of this content is they don't talk about recovery. So they show you the sessions, oh, run at this pace, run at that pace, which is wonderful. But a key thing that they miss out, well, there's two key things, is elite athletes don't have a day job. Yep. So they're training, that's their job. So they're sleeping a lot, they're recovering a lot during the day. We, you, me, we have day jobs. Even if you're a content creator and that's what you do full time, you're creating videos, this is taking time and effort, using up mental energy. We're not resting, we're not recovering. And there was a fascinating statistic, and I've met a number of top elite athletes, people who win marathon majors. I've been coached by a person who won marathon majors back in his day. Yeah, so I've met these people. Joan Benoit, who was the first lady who won, I think she won the Olympics marathon distance, and she's won Boston Marathon many times. I had the privilege of speaking to her one-to-one at the Boston Marathon Expo, and I asked her a key question. And she shared a knowledge in there. I don't see any of that on the content. You're probably wondering, what did she say? Well, I'll leave that for another video. But one of the key things I'll say to you is about Paula Radcliffe. These coaches at England Masters, they asked her, you know, in terms of when you've finished a marathon, what kind of recovery do we do? Because recovery is essential. If we don't recover correctly, we won't improve. We can race every weekend, but we'll never improve if we're racing every weekend. That doesn't happen. We can have fun, we can enjoy it, but we ain't going to improve. If we're looking to improve and get better and remain pain and injury free for decades, racing every weekend isn't going to be a good idea. So the question given to Paula Radcliffe is, after she's raced a marathon, how much time do you take off to recover? Now, you can pause the video now and leave it in the comments. What do you think the answer is? Paula Radcliffe, after she'd raced a marathon, how much time does she take to recover, time off from running, training, doing all that type of stuff? Pause, leave a comment below. How long do you think? Yep. Okay, so you've started the video again. Yes. Who knows whether there was an advert in there. Do you want to know how much time she would take off after a marathon? Are you ready for this? This may shock some of you. Didn't surprise me because, as I say, I've learnt a lot of this from other books and things that I've read. She took 5 weeks, not 5 days, 5 weeks. Let that sink in. 5 weeks. When you go onto the social medias, and you can follow me on the social medias, follow me on Strava, Poet with Pace. I'd love to see you on there on Strava. I'll post all my things and you can see what it is. All disclosed, every training, every yoga session is all on there. Poet with Pace. You can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, all that. But what we see on social media, what a lot of people do in the day after a marathon, a recovery run. What in heaven's name is that about? Now, I know people will then say, throw it back at me, oh, we're all different. Yeah, I get that. But if you've absolutely ran your guts out in a marathon, the last thing you need to be doing the day after is a recovery run. I met Galen Rupp the day after Chicago Marathon. He weren't doing any recovery runs. He was walking around town like I was, downtown Chicago, doing some shopping, doing whatever engagements. Yeah, walking is good. For me, I walk. That's all part of the recovery. But running, no thanks. So Paula Radcliffe, 5 weeks. You got that? So going forward in the back to basics, I have 3 books, and I mentioned about 3 books which would be good, not just for runner who has everything, and we're coming up to Christmas. I'll leave some links in the description with these 3 books. You can buy them off Amazon. There is the affiliate link, so I might get, you know, the odd cent passed back to me if you do purchase the books via this links. But I'm not doing it for that purpose. But these are 3 books I've had for many years, and I've had the privilege of interviewing 2 of them on the podcast. And it's all about the how, the what, and the why. Yeah. How do we run? What do we need to ensure that we keep running? And why do we need to run? That's the 3 that I look at. And the 3 books in that particular order are The Lost Art of Running. This teaches us how to run. Yeah, how we need to run. It's essential that we know how to run. I know it might sound basic, but there's some wonderful stories in here as well. Shane Benzie does a brilliant job in terms of doing great stories. It was my book of the year, I think 2019, somewhere around there. So this book has been around a while. I think Shane's working on a 2nd edition, a 2nd book, but this one goes through the how. The what we need to do is good to go. Yeah. Now again, Christy Ashwanden, I've been fortunate enough to interview her on the podcast, and it debunks all the myths about recovery. And there's some amazing stories in here. Absolutely loved it. And again, Christy does some great stories in here connecting with, in the past, you know, you see these things, it's all myths and it's not real. A lot of these new evidence, new research, there's not enough information to conclude that. And she goes through some things in here which she wanted it to be true but wasn't conclusive. So that's the what we need to do. We need to recover, recover, recover. And then the why. Born to Run. I've had this book for, you know, almost from the beginning. Nearly 10 years now I've had this book. Now for some people they say it's about barefoot running. I don't. Yes, he talks about barefoot running and the benefits of that. I'm not a barefoot runner and I don't advocate that. That's just me. So don't judge me for that. I like to run in shoes. That's just me. However, I do run in relatively minimal shoes. I don't like these high stacky stuff. But in here, the why do we run? There's some brilliant stories, you know, about the Tarahumara tribe in Mexico, about these guys who run for literally hundreds of miles without any food. Yes, they have water, but they can keep going and going. It's a brilliant book, some wonderful stories, and it helps us establish the why do we run, because if we don't have a why, what's the point in getting out in the mornings and doing our training runs? Yeah, have the why. So that's it, my friends, in terms of the back to basics number 2. I hope you've enjoyed this in some way. If you had, then please do give this video a thumbs up, subscribe, hit that alarm bell, and who knows, you know, now being Monday the 9th of December, where will we get to by Christmas? Because I had the goal of 10,000 subscribers by Christmas, and we achieved that. I didn't realise things would happen that quickly, but we achieved it with what, 18 days to go, 18 sleeps. I think there's 16 left. Yeah, did I work that out? 16, 9, 25, something like that. Yeah, 16 sleeps. Could we get to 20,000? That's down to you and me. So, see you all. Take care. Thank you very much for getting to the end. Give yourself a medal. See you all soon. Bye, 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 bye.
In 3,
Gladiators
2,
are ready.
1, go!
Bring out some other stuff, didn't we?